towards AFCIA 2. Then we will have a session about AFCIA 2 where we will describe the modalities of application of this program. And then we had a third part where we will analyze potential ideas that could be eligible under AFCIA 2. And after each of these parts, I will stop for questions and answers, but feel free as well to use the chat box if you have any questions that or comments that comes to your mind between these three sessions. And that's it. So if that's okay, I will start. So my name is Nadège Trosselier. I'm working with the CTCN mainly on the Africa region, but I'm also in charge of managing the programs, including AFCIA 1 and AFCIA 2. AFCIA 2 is being launched, as you can see, in 2024 and will end in 2029. It is a 10 million program. So as mentioned, we will have a first session on the analysis of AFCIA first edition, and then we will move towards the explanation of AFCIA 2. AFCIA 1 is a program that was initiated in 2020 and will close in 2025. It was a program for 5 million that was jointly implemented with UNDP and was funded by the Adaptation Fund. AFCIA 1 main objective was to support countries to test, evaluate, roll out and scale up innovative adaptation practices and technologies. And the program was divided into three main components. The first component was sourcing projects. And under AFCIA 1, we were expecting to implement 25 projects. Then the second component was the implementation of these projects. And the third component is the knowledge sharing that we are currently working on. So just to give a brief overview of AFCIA 1, we have selected 25 projects, and most of these projects are already either completed or under implementation. 11 of those are in Africa, 7 in Asia, and 6 are in Latin America and Caribbean. We have 1 in Eastern Europe, and 52% of these projects are implemented into LDCs or seeds. As you can see on the graph on the left top side, we have 64% under implementation. 2 projects are still under bidding process, but we do expect the contracts to be signed in the next couple of weeks. And 28, I think I can see, 28% are under implementation. So what are the key achievements that we have seen under AFCIA 1? First, in terms of technologies, we have noticed that many countries have requested support in developing either early warning system or agri-meteorological systems, multi-hazard platforms, this kind of digital tools that enable the creation of climate data or in some cases the management of this climate data in order to issue forecasts and provisions. So this was a very main component of the request received under AFCIA 1 globally. Then we have worked quite a lot on agriculture, and within agriculture, the solar irrigation pumping system have been quite important. I think we have developed 6 projects around this technology of solar irrigation, not always under the same focus. In some of the countries, we have piloted the technology. So this is the case in Liberia and Guatemala. But in some countries, we have worked on the definition of a framework, the definition of the business model, the definition of standards or certifications that will support the promotion of the technology to the market space. And then finally, we have worked quite a lot on water management. One of the most important success stories we have had on water management is the case of Burundi with the Slam Dam that you have probably already heard about. The Slam Dam is an inflatable barrier that is used to stop floods, and that can also be used in time of dry season to provide water to the crops. So this has been quite an important success. But we have also worked on water balance, water aquifer mapping in different countries. We have worked quite a lot in the forecasting of the dry season and the impact on agriculture. We have worked in different aspects of water, and this has been a very big component of AFCIA 1. The good thing we have seen so far, and this data will soon be updated because we are currently working on the reporting for AFCIA for the Adaptation Fund. But so far, during the last reporting period, we had 5 projects that have been closed, and 7 projects that have been completed. And out of the 7 projects, already 4 managed to leverage additional funding. And this is important because it demonstrates that first, the country managed to communicate about the technical assistance, but also that the pilot, the technical assistance, was successful enough to attract additional funding. And so this is the case of the Burundi. The Burundi has managed to get a concept note approved by the Adaptation Fund, and currently UNEP CTCN is working with the country in developing a full proposal so that the project can be implemented. It's also the case of Mongolia, that has managed to leverage 7.5 million from the government of Canada. It's also the case of St. Kitts and Nevis, that following the implementation of the TA, managed to have a specific budget line in the country for $100,000 to strengthen the platform that had been defined. And finally, is also the case of Maldives, the country in which currently we are working in formulating a concept note that we expect will be submitted to the Adaptation Fund for review and approval by next year. And once the concept note is approved, we will also support the country in formulating the full proposal. And of course, a main key achievement is that the Adaptation Fund has agreed to continue with the program and to fund a second edition that we will present in a couple of minutes. What are the lessons learned from Adaptation Fund AFCIA 1? So first, we see that there is a lot of interest in climate change adaptation technologies in this program. We have received more than 500 requests under AFCIA 1. But what we can see as well is that from these 500 requests, only 10% of these applications were screened and defined as eligible. So what do we learn? We learned that we need to promote better Adaptation Fund. We need to promote better the work of the CTCN. We need to make sure that the project proponents understand how we work and understand the objective of this program. And that's why we are starting this series of webinar. This is the 5th webinar, I think, that we do to launch AFCIA 2. And we will do these first 5 webinars have been targeting NGEs mainly. And soon we will start doing other webinars targeting universities, targeting NGOs, targeting women and constituency groups, targeting youth, etc., targeting as well UNEP partners. So we will continue with these webinars, and we will try to make sure that the project proponents, the people with ideas can understand and provide eligible requests. Then another lessons learned from Adaptation Fund 1 was that it was largely government driven, which is understandable if we analyze the modalities of the CTCN and the role of the NGEs. Many requests that the CTCN implements are coming from governmental entities because they are managed by the NGE or by the ministries of the countries. But what we would like to do is try to work more with the knowledge helix, try to have more requests coming from NGOs, private sector, universities, think tank, center of research, and any other sectors or stakeholders. Finally, one of the comments that was raised during the midterm evaluation of the program is that in order to make sure that or in order to transition from the small-scale pilot to something that can be leveraged, that can be replicated, that can be scaled up, it's important that the technology can be anchored into national system of innovation. And so, as you may know, national system of innovation, so what we can also call enabling environment, is an enabler of the CTCN. And so we will try under AFCIA 2, and as you will see, we will try to support these technologies that are being piloted under AFCIA 2 to reach the enabling environment, to benefit from the relevant policies, regulations, standards, certification, business models, and platforms that can support the technology and that can support the scale-up of these initiatives. I'm done with the first part, which was the presentation of AFCIA 1, what has been done, what is the status, what has been achieved, and what are the lessons learned. I will stop for a couple of minutes to see if there are any questions or comments with regards to this presentation and this presentation of AFCIA 1, and then afterwards I will continue with AFCIA 2. So I will stop now. Thanks.
I don't see any questions in our chat. Any questions? Any comments from the group? Everything seems to be crystal clear, Nadège.
Okay, excellent. So we continue then with the presentation of AFCIA 2. So AFCIA 2 is the second edition of AFCIA 1. It's a program that is initiated now in 2024 and will end in 2029. It's a 10 million program, and the objective of AFCIA 2 are very similar to the ones covered under AFCIA 1, as what we want to do is to test, to scale up, to leverage innovative and transformative adaptation technologies. And we also want to try to anchor a couple of these technologies into a strong national system of innovation. So there are different sub-objectives to AFCIA 2, and these objectives are to encourage, test, demonstrate that climate adaptation technology innovation can work in different sectors, in different development stage. We also want to scale up the impact of this technology. We want to work in creating a favorable enabling environment for these technologies. And of course, we want to share the lessons learned, the good practices, and the success stories that we will have. So the same as for Adaptation Fund 1, we have three main components under Adaptation Fund 2. The first one will be in selecting innovative, transformative, and locally led climate adaptation technologies. And for these technologies, we will try to analyze the feasibility of using this technology in a specific context. So, for example, we have currently a project that analyzes the possibility to use agrivoltaic technology in 4 African countries in order to understand whether this technology is suitable to the local context and for which crops, for which region should it be deployed. So this kind of analysis could work if a country is interested in a technology but doesn't know if it will be applicable in its context. Then we are happy to support the pre-feasibility analysis, but it also the opportunity to test and to pilot a couple of technologies that we know could work, but we have not yet tried or tested in a specific context. Then out of these technologies that will be selected during the first component, and we will select 40 projects under the first component, out of these 40 projects, we will select 10 to be scaled up. And so let's imagine here the possibility that under the first component, we have this, for example, agrivoltaic technology that is being analyzed in order to understand how, to which crop, to which region, under which circumstances, what should be the architecture of the system, what will be the size of the size of the solar panels that will be requested, what will be the power requested to make this system function, etc., etc. Once we do this analysis, we want to test it afterwards. We have a clear design of where and for which crop it is supposed to work. We have a clear definition of the architecture of the system, the equipment that will be requested, the power that will be generated, the irrigation system that should be functioning, etc. And we want to test it. We want to see whether it works or not and to learn from its operationalization. So this is what we will try to do under the component 2 of this program. We will select 10 out of the 40 previously tested under pilot 1, under component 1, and we will try to pilot this technology or to scale them up. Then finally, out of these 40 as well, we will select 10 to support the development or the strengthening of an enabling environment. So we will try to help the country in creating the favorable conditions so that the technology can reach market stage, can be taken by the private sector, and that can be manufactured and sold in the country. So just to summarize what has been said, at the end is 40 technical assistances under the first component, plus 10 under the second component, plus 10 under the third component, so a total of 60 projects that will be implemented under AFCIA 2. And we will also formulate 3 concept notes to the adaptation fund under the innovation window, which is limited to $5 million. And same as adaptation fund AFCIA 1 edition, the objective is not only to formulate this concept note, but it's also to submit this concept note to the adaptation fund for approval, and if approved, to support the country in the development of a full proposal until the money is available and the project can be implemented. So that's really the focus here. In terms of geographical context, AFCIA 2 is open to all developing countries, non-Annex 1 countries that have a NDE in place. This is it's mandatory for the CTCN. We need an NDE in the countries to be able to work with us, but as soon as there is an NDE nominated, all countries are eligible to AFCIA 2. And we will have a specific focus on LDCs and seed. What are the next steps? So the program is being kicked off now. We are at the phase where we are trying to source ideas to select the first 40 projects. We are launching webinars to communicate, to disseminate information about this opportunity, and we will collaborate with our partners, including our AB members, including UNEP, including the women constituency and any other actors to make sure that the information reach the knowledge helix, reach the university, the centers of research, the NGO, and why not the private sector. I don't know if we have new NGE today, or maybe if we have NGEs that are not so aware or familiar with the CTCN processes and modalities. So I would like to go through the process very quickly. So first we have an idea coming from an actor, and this actor can be a governmental institution, and it can be a non-governmental institution, it can be private or public. And this request is submitted to the NDE of the country. So the role of the NDE at this stage is to look at the request and define whether this request is aligned with the NDC of the country and with the strategies and priorities, climate change strategies and priorities of the country. If it is the case, and that the NDE considers that the project idea is aligned with the strategies and priorities of the country, then the NDE can submit this request to the CTCN for screening and review. So once the CTCN receives the request, we will screen, analyze, and prioritize the request based on how prioritization, eligibility, and balancing criteria, and we will inform the NDE and the project proponent whether this request has been selected to be moved forward or not. If it is the case, we will send a letter of approval to the country and the project proponent, and we will start to define the term of references of the project, which is called under the CTCN the response plan. It's a document, more or less 10 pages, where we define all the activities that we want to implement in order to reach the specific results that are expected from the technical assistance. And this document is created in collaboration between the CTCN, the project proponent, the NDE, as well as any other stakeholders that the country believes are relevant to be a part of the design process. Once we have a term of references, a response plan approved by the NDE, by the project proponent, and by the CTCN, we will all sign on the document, and we will initiate, the CTCN will initiate the bidding process. The competitive bidding process is a bidding process which is organized under the UN rules and regulations, and it is open to all CTCN network partners. The network partners who have the expertise and the knowledge of the specific sectors to implement this TA will send their proposals, technical and financial proposals, and this proposal will be evaluated. The CTCN will take care of the technical evaluation, and another organism within the United Nations will take care of the financial evaluation. At the end, we will have an awarded partner, and a contract will be signed with this partner. This partner, this CTCN network partner, will be in charge of implementing the project as defined together in the response plan, following all the activities, delivering all the deliverables, and trying to reach the expected results. I'm done with this session, explaining AFCIA 2 and explaining the modalities of AFCIA 2 and of the CTCN. I will stop for a couple of minutes to see if there are any questions before moving forward with the third part of this presentation. Thank you.
Any questions? Nothing?
Yeah,
No?
good morning. Good morning, Joseph Noel, Ministry of Agriculture and Lands, Forestry and Marine Resources, Grenada. Just one question for clarification. I see that AFCIA 2, a total of $10 million US is allocated for it. But then I saw in one of your slides, it's mentioned that 3 projects up to $5 million US each will be submitted to the adaptation fund for approval. So can you just clarify that?
Yeah, sure. It's the concept notes that have a maximum of 5 million. So as part of the project, the 10 million will be used to fund 60 projects, 60. So that's an average of $140, I think, $1,000 per project, but we can go up to $250,000 for each technical assistance. And then if for 3 out of the 60 projects that would have been implemented, we will support the formulation of the concept note. And the window that we will use for this concept note is the Adaptation Fund Innovation window. And under this window, we can use a maximum, or we can present a proposal for a maximum of $5 million by concept note.
Okay, thank you very much for the clarification.
Of course, no problem at all.
Anything else that's unclear at all? No? Then I guess you can continue, Nadège.
All right. So the third part is mainly to provide examples, ideas of projects that will be of interest. And the AFCIA 2 is not an exhaustive list at all. It's just to support the ideation process at country level. So I have tried to provide examples of things that can be done following the 2 enablers of the CTCN, digitalization and national system of innovation, as well as the 5 system of transformation. So just to start with the first enabler, which is digitalization. As you know, digitalization is only a tool, and it can be used for many things and many sectors. So as part of digitalization, we can work on agriculture, we can work on water, we can work on buildings, we can work on many things. The list that is presented today is only example of things that can be done. So of course, we have, as I said in my presentation, we have worked quite a lot under AFCIA 1 in the development of early warning system for drought, for floods, for forest fires. We have also worked with a couple of countries in developing agro-meteorological platforms. We have also worked in developing multi-hazard platforms. But we can also think about the use of drones and how drones or AI or high-resolution imagery can support for example, the agriculture sector. So let's imagine that we use high-resolution imagery to support agriculture, and this image provides information about potential disease from which a crop is suffering, and maybe with the use of AI, we can also identify what is this disease and what can be done. So this is one of the ideas that could be presented. We can also use remote sensing, a geographic information system. We can use AI to monitor deforestation. We can try to provide real-time data as well as forecasting. So there are many things that can be done with the support of AI or digitalization. And within digitalization, we can include Internet of Things. We can include everything which is related to internet. It can also include AI. It can be many things. So I cannot put an exhaustive list. It's just that digitalization is important today. Something that we will try to do maybe differently from what we have done under AFCIA 1. Under AFCIA 1, we have developed many standalone early warning systems, many standalone agro-meteorological platforms. Something that I would like to analyze under AFCIA 2 is how can we use open source mechanisms that already exist and try to see how one country that needs an early warning system for flood, for example, can connect to an existing open source platform to take advantage of maybe better quality, better quantity of data. It can also provide a better exit strategy and sustainability of a project if it is connected to a bigger platform than if it is a standalone platform with cost of maintenance that the country will have to assume. So I'm thinking about this, of how can we do to connect the needs of a local country to things that are already existing, that are open source, and to which maybe a country can just plug in and benefit from existing data. So this is something I have in mind. Let's see what comes out from it. When it comes to national system of innovation, sometimes we don't know exactly this means. I mean, it's difficult to know what is exactly a national system of innovation, because it can take many forms. So here I have tried to list a couple of this type of national system of innovation that we could develop or try to think about, and some of them are, for example, incubators and hubs. National observatory. We can also work on educational programs. For example, we have received a request to develop a master for hydrogen in some of the countries. Well, why not? I mean, at the end of the day, if we want to start working on hydrogen in a country, then it's important to have people trained to manage this technology, right? So developing a master is not a bad idea. So this is also something which is possible. We can also work on regulative, normative, cognitive legitimacy of technologies. We can work on developing business models. We can work on knowledge development and diffusion. We can work on platforms to connect governmental with private sectors. There are many ideas. We can work on the regulation, standards, frameworks, policies. It can be many different things. The only thing we try to do is to make sure that if we are interested in a technology, we provide a secure environment to the private sector and to the future users. So for example, let's imagine, just taking the example of irrigation, solar irrigation, as I was mentioning at the beginning of my presentation, that has received quite a lot of success under AFCIA 1. So we have this solar irrigation system, and we know that it's a good way to support smallholder farmers in having a more efficient agriculture. So we work. We have maybe already do a couple of pilots. We know it works. So maybe what we face is a problem of financing. How do we make sure that smallholder farmers can access the technology, that they will receive the loans that are necessary for the purchase of the equipment? But also, what we want to make sure is that at the moment a farmer is taking a loan to buy this equipment, we want to make sure that the equipment will be of quality. We don't want him to take a loan for a project that does not respect any quality standards or certification, because then maybe in 3 months' time the product is not working anymore, but the farmer still has his loan, right? So we have not support an increase in resilience. We have only put the farmer in an even more delicate situation than it was in the past, and this we want to avoid, right? So what do the country need in order to make sure that the communities have access to important climate change technologies, and how can we make sure that these technologies are sustainable in the long term? This is exactly what we mean by national system of innovation, by enabling environment. We want to think about everything to make sure that we are in control and that the technology will indeed increase the resilience and not creating situations that are worse than in the past. Then entering into the system of transformations of the CTCN, so starting with an easy one, water, energy, and food system. As you know, the CTCN doesn't have a specific sector about agriculture or about water, but we have this water, energy, food nexus, which is very adaptation oriented. So many ideas can come from this system of transformation. We can of course talk about early warning system, but we can also talk about aquaponics, hydroponics, biodigesters. We can think about resilient crop varieties, mangrove restoration. We can think about rehabilitating degraded lands. We can think about water-saving irrigation system, precision agriculture, many things. Here, the ideas are with no ending. And of course, we can try to connect this sector with digitalization. And then we have many possible ideas that can come to mind. Then I wanted to provide a couple of examples on the energy systems. When we think about energy, most of the time we think mitigation, and it's correct. Most of the time when we work on energy, we try to reduce the greenhouse gases emissions of the system and to use more efficient systems. But when we talk about energy and when we try to deal with adaptation, we come to the moment where we try to provide energy, renewable energy, to systems that were not using energy before. So, for example, in the case of the solar irrigation pumping system, most of the time the farmers didn't have any kind of irrigation system before. They were just using the rain as a source of water. So in that case, energy is not mitigation, but it is adaptation, because what we are doing is not reducing the greenhouse gases emissions. There were no greenhouse gases emission in the past because there were no energy. But what we're trying to do is just to increase the resilience by providing a technology that does not emit greenhouse gases emissions. So this is what we can do under this program, under an adaptation program. And here we can work on food preservation. So, for example, we developed a project in Cameroon a couple of years ago where we worked on the supply chain of the dairy products. And in order to increase the lifespan of these dairy products, what we did was to put a solar fridge, so a fridge working with the use of solar panels, into a community of women, and we analyzed all the routes that were used and the distance between the different farmers, and we tried to create supply chains that will enable the products to be sold faster and to be as well maintained for a longer period of time. So these kind of projects are very interested in the adaptation angle. We can work as well, as already mentioned, on agrivoltaic. We can work on solar powered tube well. We can work on storage energy solutions, decentralized clean energy solutions for vulnerable communities. There are many options on energy when we are not trying to reduce greenhouse gases emissions, but just to increase resilience. Another sector that can be of interest is infrastructure in building. For example, when we work on coastal zone management, we are working on adaptation. There is also this idea that I like quite a lot, which is mapping endangered infrastructures and buildings. So some of these infrastructure and buildings in some of the countries are can be affected by coastal zone erosion, or by the increase on the level of the sea, or by any other climatic element or events. And maybe a country is interested in mapping what are the endangered infrastructures. And in that case, we can use digitalization as a tool or as an equipment, and we can try to see what are the options to limit the risk of this infrastructure. So this is one of the projects. We can also work on reinforcing water standards, changing irrigation water pricing so that the water becomes more accessible to the smallholder farmers. We can also work on urban planning, of course. We can work on sustainable land use. There are many projects on urban planning that can be created. There is also working in cities with the need to have more gardens, more maybe green rooftops, these kind of things. That can also be an idea of projects that could be covered under this program, under adaptation. Then we have two last system of transformations under the CTCN, which are not easy to connect with adaptation. I have tried to give a couple of examples of how sustainable mobility could be connected to adaptation, but let's be honest, sustainable mobility is mainly a mitigation sector. It is a sector where we try to reduce greenhouse gases emissions and not to increase resilience that much. So it's not that easy. But yeah, what I could think about is this idea of working on the value chains. Making the value change shorter, because maybe it can have an impact on the lifetime of the product. I have also this project of sustainable fisheries. It's an idea that was shared with us under AFCIA 1 by a large NGO, by a big NGO, and finally we could not implement the project, that they wanted to analyze the possibility to have boats working on solar energy, and I think it was a brilliant idea. So these kind of things are interesting to us. Not easy to find sustainable mobility projects connected to adaptation, but still we are open to analyze, to discuss that with you if you have any things in mind. And then finally, business and industry is also very mitigation oriented. And so what I can think about looking around on the UNFCCC website and what my colleagues from tech are doing, I found these two examples of reducing industrial dependence through laws and regulations. That could be a national system of innovation kind of project, and also how we could work on defining industrial systems far away from the vulnerable areas to protect biodiversity and to protect the nature. So this maybe could be oriented into adaptation by this angle of biodiversity and nature. This is what I could find. I think I'm done with these ideas and presentation of possible eligible projects. We still have some time, so the floor is open to questions. Please open your mic, introduce yourself, and feel free to ask whatever questions you have in mind. Thanks.
Thank you, Nadège. And we have one question here in the chat. Rafik asks, is there a template to apply for the AFCIA 2 TAs support?
Yes, so no, there is no specific template. We can use the usual CTCN template, request template. And as soon as we identify that this could be an adaptation and this could be an AFCIA 2 project, we will let you know. So there is no specific need, there is no call for projects, and there is no specific need to use a specific template for AFCIA 2. You only need to follow the usual template requested by the CTCN, and then it is the team of the CTCN while we are doing the analysis and screening that will let you know that we believe this project could be implemented under AFCIA 2. And then, of course, we will need to use the logo. And then as soon as we define this project as AFCIA 2, then yes, we will have some rules that needs to be followed. But at the time of sending an idea, of sending a request, then you don't need to be worried about this. You just need to follow the normal CTCN procedures. Thank you.
And I'm just going to add the link to our TA page, but I will also add a link to the AFCIA 2 page here in a minute. Any other questions? Any ideas that anybody wants to bring to the table already now, thinking about what could possibly be a project in your country? No, this is a very quiet group. Maybe it's early in the morning. Here is a link to the AFCIA 2 web page. And we will also be posting this video there, along with videos or the videos of the webinars in Spanish and French. If you have no more questions, yeah. We're ending early.
Yes, absolutely. Feel free anyway to contact us anytime. You can contact the team based in Latin America and Caribbean, Ramiro, who is present today, and you can also contact Isabel or myself if you have any questions related to this AFCIA 2. We are very happy to organize a bilateral call with you or to see or to answer any doubts you may have.
There's Ramiro. Why don't you wave, Ramiro, so everyone knows what you look like? There he is.
Thank you. Yes. Don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you. I read Rafik.
And we're looking forward to hear some interesting ideas from you. Thank you so much, Nadège, for this presentation, and we will be in touch, and we're at your service at any time to answer any questions you might have. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Yes.
Bye, everyone. Have a good day.
Bye. Good day.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.